Okay, in this video, we will talk about the stage of child language development. The first is Prelinguistic 1, which is from 0 to 6 months. First verbal or prelinguistic, according to Clark, 1977, state that the children in the very first growing stage are already able to communicate even if only by turning their hands, crying, or smiling. Thus, parents and children have communicated well before the child can speak. Age 0 to 2 months can already know the origin of the sound. They can already distinguish syllables. They can respond differently to the emotional quality of human voices. For example, they will smile when they hear a friendly voice, or vice versa, they will cry when they hear an angry voice. Children can only make reflexive sound to express hunger, pain, or discomfortable, which causes children to cry and fuss, as well as vegetative sounds related to bodily activities such as coughing, sneezing, burping, swallowing from food, gulping, like breastfeeding or drinking. Generally, the sound is like a vowel sound with a slightly harsh voice. Even if the sounds are not linguistically meaningful, they are material for future anthraxes. The age from 2 to 5 months. At the age of 3 and 4 months, babies can distinguish between the male and female voice. The child starts to get closer and make vowel sounds mixed well consonant-like sounds. This sound usually occurs in response to a smile or greeting from his mother or someone else. At this age of 4 to 7 months, children begin to make sound. They are quite complete with a long duration or span. Consonant-like or vowel-like sounds are more varied. Nasal consonants like M or N have started to appear. And now we will watch the video prelinguistic stage.
Nina bobo, oh Nina bobo, oh 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 oh. Kau nangis aja. Diam. Okay.
Next, we talk about the roles of parents at this stage. First, the language development and the baby speech from 1 to 3 months. Baby usually can crying as form as a communicated or fault all needs. The difference in crying sound for certain needs or complete. The next is start making vocal sounds like and another sounds. And surprised when hearing a loud sound. A baby can also pay attention to my voice and also pay attention to the face, and the baby can smile. In this phase, parents can more often to invite baby to talk in a soft voice and explain to the baby for the meaning of the baby's cry. For example, a baby is crying because they are hungry. Parents can invite him to talk and say, "Baby is hungry, right? Mama can give you a meal, okay?" And in addition, parents also sing children's songs to attract their attention. The next is language development and baby speech from 4 to 5 months. Turns to the sound source, laughing and giggling. And baby also starts to drooling and also like to spit and make bubbles. The next is baby cooing or more often, especially in response to something. In this phase, parents can stimulate the children to joke and louder together. Try to inviting your child to imitate the sound like ah or mama and give a response such as a smile if the child starts to try. The next is the Prelinguistic 2, which is from the 6 to 12 months or a years old. According to Clark, in 1977, in terms of comprehension, children's language skills are getting better and wider. Children increasingly understand the meaning of several words, such as names or self or the nickname of their father and mother, prohibition, orders, and invitation, like a peekaboo game. Furthermore, from Terrigan 1985, explained that at this stage, called the word stage without meaning. Another feature of this stage is babbling, which is often produced with intonation, sometimes with the dropping stress associated with question. In the babbling stage, the baby makes sounds of increasing variety and increasingly complex combination. They combine vowels with consonants into structures similar to syllables. For example, like mama, ma, baba, ba, papa, pa, dada, dada, and others. In this line, with Goldman's opinion in 2010, which state that a word like mama is relatively easy for the 12-month-old to pronounce. In fact, it often arises spontaneously in child babbling. Sometimes, before its apparent ends its word, it might happen because it consists of a simple sound, arranged into repetitive strings of simple syllables. This suggests that the intent of question in that a word like mama is relatively easy to pronounce at 12 months. At this stage, children generally babble spontaneously before they can say the word. This happens because mama is composed of a simple sound and is made into a repeating series of simple syllables. And also from Terrigan, 1985, Walter states that the stage at the age of 7 to 8 months, children can already recognize the sound of words for subjects or objects that are often taught and introduced repeatedly. At the age 8 to 1 year, children began to pronounce phonetically segment into the form of syllables and then the form of the words. For example, the sound boo. They can say boo boo, and finally they can say mother. At this stage, the child has taken the intimate communication, use sign language to point or reach object. So, at the stage 6 to 12 months, children began to pay attention to intonation and rhythm in speech. At this stage, child can communicate and chatter. The chatter in the form of reduplication or repetition of the same consonant and vowels such as baba, mama, dada, and the vowels that appearance is the basic A with labial stop consonant P, B, muscle like M and G, and vowel 4 like T or D. Then this reduplication chatter turns out to be more varied. Those vowels have started to move forward to vowels U and I, and frictive consonants such as A's have started to appear. At this stage, children begin to be active, experienced by children aged 6 months to 1 year. Physically, they have started to do the movements. The way The way to communicate at this stage is more varied, namely not only turning smile and crying and adding holding, lifting or pointing. And now we will watch the video of prelinguistic 2 stages.
Gitu suara sapi.
Okay, the roles of parent at this age is the first is language develop and baby speech at 6 months. Begin to respond when called by name and also say no. And then often pay attention to our moods when we speak. And then start chattering and use O, R, and U sounds more. And then started making adorable centering sounds. And then at this age, to stimulate the baby, parents can invite the baby play in front of the mirror, then call the baby's name. And then the point at the baby's reflection in the mirror. Let the child play with a toy that makes a sound when it is shaken or hit, such as rattle or crack. And then, when the parents talk to him, stop for a moment to let the child respond, just like we talk to adult people. And the next is language develop and baby speech at 7 to 6 months. In this age, children begin to pay attention to conversation, and then seems to be starting to understand a few words, and then understand the word no, and then can pronounce 2 syllables simultaneously like baba or gaga, and then start saying the word mama or papa, and then start following the chant in his own language. And at this age, parents can invite him to play aloud, like playing peekaboo. Then parents can show the name of object around the child more often, such as telling the bottles, eating, drinking, milk, mama, papa, and so on. And the rules to parents of their child is language develop and baby speech at 10 to 12 months. In this age, begin to understand simple commands like asking the child to pick up an item and put it in the box and other. And then react to music like doing dance move and then starting imitating various voice. And then says the words mama and papa in their true meaning and can say 1, 2, 3 words. And then react when we say goodbye, namely saying bye while waving hand. And at this age, parents can chat more often with their children and also encourage their children to say something. Don't use baby language, but be conscious to use normal language in general. For example, when a child wants to drink, but they can only say ing, and then the correct child words by saying, "Oh, Dede, you want to drink?" Okay, the next stage is one word saying or USK at the age 1 to 2 years old. Holopraxis stage or one word saying stage. At this stage, the child has started to say words. In this period, it is called holophrase because children express the meaning of the whole phrase or sentence in a word that they say. And according to Tarigan, 1985, the utterance of the word in this period are called holophrases or holoplastic because children state the meaning of the whole phrase or sentence in the one word they utter. For example, the word ice meaning rice can means he wants to eat rice, he has eaten rice, the rice is not delicious, do you want to eat rice, and so on. And this is the video of one word saying or USK. Okay, the next step is, or the next stage is two-word saying or UDK in age 2 to 3 years old. In this stage, involve the first time you say to hollow process in rapid succession. The communication he want to convey is asking and asking. And at this time, children's vocabulary and grammar develop rapidly. His speech begins to be telegraphic. This means that what children say is only important words, such as nouns, adjective, and verb. And at this stage, the child has been able to say two words. According to Tarigan, 1985, this stage is also called the nonsense word stage, namely the word stage without meaning. Other interesting features, aside from those mentioned above, are babbling, and often produced with intonation, and sometimes with decreased stress in connection with question. In the babbling stage, the baby makes sounds with increasing variation and increasingly complex combination. This is video of two-word saying or Udeki.
Kasih aja. Buatlah Maza buat. Buat bulan, buat bintang dah.
Okay, we continue to the next stage. Is development of grammar 3 to 4 years old. The development of children at this stage is increasingly extraordinary. This development is characterized by the use of sentence with more than two words. This stage is generally experienced by children aged 3 to 4 years. According to Tarigan, 1980 describes that the second linguistic stage usually begins before the second birthday. Children entering this stage first say to hollow process in rapid succession, like mom cooks, younger sister drinks, daddy picks or father leaves, sister clothes, and so on. At first, these utterances were not clear, such as D, which means younger sibling, when the child stops for a moment, then continues nom, which means drinking. Then the next sentence appears, sister to drink. However, at the end of this stage, the child is able to ask and ask when interacting. The words used for this are the same as in early development, namely here, there, see, that, this, again, one, and ask. And this is the video of development of grammar.
Apa?
Mau baca doa apa, Dek?
Baca doa.
Naik?
Tidur.
Naik kan?
Salah.
Coba.
Subhanallah, sakura lana hala wa ma kunna lahu muqallini wa inna ila rabbina lamunqalibun. Amin.
Wow, hebatnya.
Okay, we move to the next stage. The next stage is grammar before adult, at the age 4 to 5 years old. At this stage, children have started to apply complex grammatical, structural, and are already able to construct more complex sentences. In this stage of development above, their mastery of language system, their learning also develops. The language system consists of the following subsystem. First is phonology, is the knowledge of the pronunciation and combination of these sounds as something meaningful. And the second is grammar, is knowledge of the rules for forming speech element. And the third is lexical semantic or vocabulary, is the knowledge of the words to refer or to something. And the fourth is pragmatics, in the knowledge of using language in various ways for various purposes. This stage begins around the age of 2 to 6 months, but there are also some children who enter this stage when they are 2 years old. When are even children who are slower, namely when the child is 3 years old. In general, at this stage, children have begun to use more complicated grammatical elements, such as simple sentence patterns, assignment words like in, to, of, this, that, and so on, pluralization, affixation, especially easy prefixes and suffixes, and simple forms. And this is the video of grammar before adult.
Selamat Hari Hawe.
so for the next we'll talk about competence that is 5 from 7 years old. According to Tarigan 1088, one of the expansion of language as communication tool that must receive special attention in elementary school is the development of literacy. At this stage, the child is able to be introduced and taught to write. According to Izati 2013, learning to read and write frees children from limitation to communicate directly. Writing is a task that is considered more difficult than reading for children. How to learn to write is done step by step with practice and in line with the development of reading. Around the age of 5 to 7 years, children begin to enter the stage known as full competence. Since the age of 5 years old, in general, children with normal development have mastered the syntactical element of their mother tongue and have sufficient competence in understanding and productivity of language. Despite this, his vocabulary is still limited but continues to grow at an astonishing rate. Next, the child enters elementary school age. During this period, children are faced with the main task of learning written language. This is possible after children have mastered spoken language. Development of children's language in this period of elementary school age increased from spoken language to written language. With their ability to use language developed with the equation of written language or written language equation. The language acquired in this case is the language written by speakers of that language, in this case the teacher or writer. So the child begins to get to know other media for language equation, namely writing, in addition to acquiring spoken language in early days of his life. According to Tarigan 1988, one of the extension of language as mean of communication that must receive special attention in elementary school is the development of literacy. The development of children's literacy will support an expanded disclosure of the child's personal intention. For example, through writing diaries, writing letters, daily schedules, and etc. Thus, the development of literacy in elementary school provides steady ways of using language in communication with others as well as with oneself. In the next period of the development, namely in adolescence, there is an important language development. According to Gilson 1985, this period is a sensitive age for language learning. Teenagers use a distinctive style of language as part of the formation of self-identity. Finally, in adulthood, there are enormous differences between one individual and another in terms of language development. This expands on the level of education, role in society, and type of word. And the next, it is the video of 5 to 7 years old children with full competence. We'll talk about the role of the parents in early childhood language development. So in general, children aged 2 to 6 years old, or what is often called early age, need guidance and direction from parents. Parental motivation and intervention in children's language development will facilitate and accelerate children's language development through language development carried out by parents in a directed, planned, and sustainable manner. As someone who is responsible for the growth and the development of children, parents are expected to be sensitive and active in helping children complete one of their developmental tasks, namely honing language skill. Some effort that parents can make to help develop their children's language skill from an early age include: first, They can introduce good and correct greeting in the family, such as calling father and mother figures as mother, father, grandmother, grandfather gently. In this case, the adults around the children in the family are required to set a good example when interacting. When leaving, family members usually say goodbye like, younger brother, did he go to work first? Son, wait a minute, mom to the kitchen. The greeting word younger brother, son, is an example of a greeting that is good for parents to give to their children. Apart from being easier to pronounce, word of greeting that contain physical proximity to the child will make the child more comfortable and understand what the parents are saying. And the second, parents can practicing the pronunciation of sort of simple sentences when children receive as or as of other people. For example, thank you grandma. Younger brother wants a drink. Rara is sleepy, huh? Form of short sentences that value politeness and courtesy can be used as a stimulus by parents so that children can more easily learn language. And 3. Invite children to get to know the object around them. When parents interact with children, they can automatically teach children to recognize the object around them. For example, introducing pencil, book, brooms, clothes, ball, and so on. The activity of getting to know objects that are around the child not only makes children know the actual shape of the object, but also trains the child articulation when saying the name of the object. 4. Invite children to ask or talk. When parents invite children to talk, there will be a process of stimulating children to listen. Talking about things that are around of the child or interesting activities that the child has done help hone the child's ability to pronounce a word correctly to what he hears. 5. Reading stories or telling stories. The routine of reading stories or storytelling until now is very well done to stimulate early childhood language skill. When the storytelling process is carried out by parents, children will immediately learn to concentrate, listen well, explore, and develop their imagination regarding the images they see. In this case, parents must also choose the right storybook so that the contents of the story can be understood by the children easily. Providing opportunities for children to retell the content of fairy tale or story they have heard is an alternative to sharpening children's imagination through speaking skill. And then 6. Applying democratic parenting. Democratic parenting style is the right parenting style for parents to guide children to become independent individuals with character. Democratic parenting shows that parents give freedom to know, understand, do many things, but are still monitored, including learning language. Democratic parenting provides opportunities for imagination, maximum expression with comprehensive guidance and direction from parents.